Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Guardians franchise here on MLB The Show 22. We are currently in the ALCS with games 5 and 6 today against the Seattle Mariners. Currently, the series is tied at 2, so if either team wins both games today, then that team will be headed to the World Series. If these two teams split games 5 and 6, then we will head to a game 7, which would be in the next episode. This has been a very back and forth series with Seattle, a team who only won 86 games and barely won the American League West, but after seeing their comeback against the New York Yankees in the first round of the playoffs, I knew these guys were not going to be taken lightly, and boy have I been correct. Games 3 and 4 were both quite high scoring. We lost Game 3 7-6 in an 11-inning thriller as the Mariners were able to get the walk-off win. And then Game 4, we ended up winning by the score of 10-6. The offense really came alive late, really throughout the entire game, to tie the series up at 2. Both the AL and NLCS have been very competitive. Currently in the National League, the Cubs lead the Braves 3-2. So as I said earlier, we'll be going through games 5 and 6. Game 5 is the final game in Seattle, no matter what. And then Game 6 will be obviously in Cleveland. And if there's a Game 7, it would be in Cleveland as well. I feel like the offense is in a good spot. The first couple of games against Seattle, we kind of struggled, but we've scored 16 runs in the last 2 games. So hopefully the offense can keep it going and try to carry some momentum, especially from Game 4, in which we scored double digits. The pitching has certainly been an up and down mess, I would say. Dylan Cease and Shane Bieber started in the last episode, and neither of them were particularly all that good. The bullpen has also been a roller coaster here against the Mariners. So I think if the pitching can be consistent and the offense can keep this up, we can win both games today and punch our ticket to the second World Series appearance of the last 3 years. The issue with this team the last 2 seasons has been the pitching, and that's what's going to need to play well for Cleveland if we want to get back to the Fall Classic. On the mound for the Mariners today is Antonio Senzatela. He's pitched 1 game so far, and it was a 7-inning shutout in the ALDS, getting the better of the New York Yankees. We'll see what he can do here in Seattle's final home game of the ALCS, and possibly overall if they don't get to the World Series. Things would start pretty quick with a 1-2-3 inning. Ketel Marte lining out to left would wrap the inning up. Hunter Greene is on the mound today for Cleveland. He pitched the deciding Game 3 of the ALDS against the Yankees and pitched quite well, only allowing 1 run in 6 innings, and most importantly, getting the win. He'll start things off with Andrew Benintendi, who goes down on the outside changeup. Good pitch outside the zone to open things up here from Hunter Greene. A couple batters later, it's Bo Bichette who flies it into right. Kyle Lewis, the former Mariner, comes down with it. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Greene as neither team gets anything going in terms of base runners in the first. Let's go to the second now. Kyle Lewis looking to get some offense going, and he kind of does, drawing a walk. So we've got our first base runner of the day. That'll bring up Josh Bell, who finds himself in a hitter's friendly 3-1 count. Looks at the high fastball, and he'll draw a walk as well. That'll bring you up Alvaro Pena, the 20-year-old infielder. He has not played all that well here against Seattle as he draws a walk. So Senzatela walks the bases loaded. What an opportunity for Ramon Romero, who hit the homer in Game 1 of the ALCS, and since then has been very quiet. Grounds it up the middle, deflects off of Senzatela. The throw to first is not in time. Run scores. Cleveland leads 1-0. If Senzatela was quick enough to pick up that ball, that's a double play, and the inning's over. But instead, there's only 1 away. Cleveland scores, and they still have the bases loaded for Luis Campusano. He hits it into right. 1 run scores. A second one will join him. The throw to second is not in time, so Luis Campusano is saved with a 2-run double. Cleveland leads 3-0, and they have 2 runners in scoring position for Jesus Sanchez now with 2 away. Sanchez has seen his fair share of struggles in the postseason as he grounds it to third. Clean throw made by Abraham Toro. So the Guardians leave 2 runners in scoring position, but they do drive in 3 and lead this one 3-0. Jared Kelenic leads off the bottom of the second, and he'll get the offense rolling for Seattle, singling into right field. So the Mariners start the inning with a base runner. We'll see if their offense can get going, just like Cleveland was able to. Ty France is up. He swings and misses at the slider. Good pitch out of the zone by Hunter Greene, his second K of the day. Julio Rodriguez grounds it to third. Cleveland should turn 2. Pena to Ramiro to Bell. 5-4-3, inning-ending double play. Good job there by the Cleveland infield. They're looking good here through the first couple of innings with a 3-0 lead as we go to the third. Another former Mariner, Ketel Marte lines it into center. That'll go for a hit. Senzatella started off really well, but the last inning plus has been pretty rough for him as he faces off against Jose Ramirez, who had 2 homers in Game 3. He added 2 more in Game 4. This one stays in the park, but it goes off the wall. Ramirez waltzes into second for a double, and the Guardians have 2 runners in scoring position, again with nobody out. Could we see a premature pitching change for Seattle? Kyle Lewis drives it into right. If it's fair, it's gone. And it goes foul. The Mariners catch a lucky break there. Looked like that could have been a 3-run blast. Lewis swings and misses of a high fastball on the very next pitch for strike 3. He was expecting the breaking ball, didn't get it, hence why he's swinging at the high heat. Won't matter too much as Josh Bell's going to hit a single into center. Marte scores. Ramirez slides home safe. It's a 2-run single for Josh Bell, and the Cleveland Guardians lead 5-0 going into the bottom of the third. With 2 away, Rocchio flies out to center. Jesus Sanchez makes the play. This has been a very one-sided game so far. The Guardians' offense looks great. Hunter Green on the mound looks great as well. Hopefully Cleveland can keep this going because they look fantastic. Bottom 4, Marte, what a play. It's short with the turnaround throw to get Adam Hazley out. My goodness, what a play. That'll bring up Bo Bichette now, 3-1 count. He draws a walk, just Seattle's second base runner the entire game. So they've got a runner aboard here for Jared Kelenic. Hits it high and deep and a left. Valera under it, and he makes the play at the warning track. 4 scoreless innings for Hunter Green, who continues his lights-out start to the postseason, only allowing 1 run in 10 total innings of action so far. The Mariners are going to make a pitching change as the lefty Ethan Small checks in here in the 5th inning. Small has not pitched yet in the playoffs until right now, so we'll see what he can do when the lights shine the brightest, and that's not a particularly good start as Ketel Marte singles it up the middle against the former Milwaukee Brewers southpaw. So the Guardians have an early base runner here for Jose Ramirez. Had a double in his last at-bat. This time he strikes out on the curveball. Good pitch by Smalls. That'll bring up Kyle Lewis, who has absolutely raked against left-handed pitching here in the postseason. Grounds it over to third. Toro does a good job of deflecting it, but Lewis is safe. That'll bring up Josh Bell, who has not hit lefties well really all season. He grounds into an inning-ending 4-6-3 double play. That'll wrap up the top of the 5th. Still a 5-0 ball game. Bottom 5 now. Julio Rodriguez strikes out on the slider. Nice pitch by Hunter Green, who is having a gem of an outing. Abraham Toro now lines one deep into right center, and it is gone. So right as I'm gassing Hunter Green up, that happens. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. That's Toro's 4th homer of the playoffs, and it's now 5-1 as we go into the top of the 6th. Alvaro Pena crushes one into left center, so the Mariners get one and Cleveland gets one right back. A sick bat flip for Alvaro Pena, his 2nd homer of the playoffs, 432 feet, an absolute no-doubter. And this game is now 6-1. You give some and you get some. Cleveland gives a run, and they get one right back from Pena. That'll bring up the lefty, George Valera, 0 for 3 today as the leadoff man. And Valera crushes one into straightaway center. No doubt about that one either. A solo homer for Valera, and it's now 7-1 as that one goes 424 feet for his 1st homer of the postseason. So Cleveland hits 2 homers in the 6th inning. Both of them are absolute no-doubters. I mean, frickin' nukes off the bat. And the Guardians lead big, 7-1. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez, homered in the last game, but does not have a hit in the postseason. Other than that, he might look to get another homer. This one goes into straightaway center, and it is gone. The 3rd homer of the inning for Cleveland. Valera and Sanchez go back-to-back. That one only goes 406 feet. Still an absolute missile. And it is now an 8-1 ball game. The Guardians have turned this one into a blowout. Seattle's got to make a pitching change. Ethan Small allows 3 dingers into 6th. He'll be taken out of the game for fellow lefty Robbie Ray. He'll face off against Ketel Marte. Full count on its way. Marte hits it high. Probably could have been a walk, but instead he pops up. Still a good inning for Cleveland. They get 3 on the board with a trio of solo home runs from Pena, Valera, and Sanchez. As it's 8-1 going into the bottom of the 6th. The Mariners are going to look to make up some ground here with a solo homer by Bo Bichette. Crushes it into left field. No doubt about that one. Flo and Bo's first homer of the playoffs, and it is now 8-2. Put on your rally caps, kids. The Mariners are starting a comeback. That'll bring up Jarred Kelenic. Grounds it to second. Ramiro makes the play. That'll probably wrap up Hunter Green's night. 6 innings, 2 runs, 81 pitches. Another great performance from him. Hopefully the bullpen can just pitch well enough to not choke this game away. Jose Ramirez strikes out. Quiet 7th inning for the offense as we go to the bottom of the frame. Rambo Rodriguez is in for Cleveland. In 5 innings so far, he's allowed 3 runs. He hasn't been all that good. Cleveland's hoping, since he's an innings eater, that he can eat 3 innings tonight with no extra damage done and an easy win. Not a great start, however, with Ty France singling into right center field. Hit that one into no man's land and was able to drop quick enough for a hit. The following batter, Julio Rodriguez, gets a hit as well. Kyle Lewis didn't see it coming. It's not sunny, so he could not have missed it because of the glare of the sun. Should have been a single. Instead, it's an RBI triple, and it's now 8-3. So very piss-poor defense in right field by Kyle Lewis as Abraham Toro then draws a walk, and Rambo ain't looking too hot. The following batter is going to be the catcher Chance Sisco, who hits it off the wall and right. Now it's 8-4 with runners on the corners and still nobody out. This is quickly looking like a real comeback from Seattle. Rocchio strikes out on the fastball, so finally Cleveland gets an out, thank God. That'll bring up Benintendi, who grounds it past Ramiro. Could have been a double play, but he doesn't get to it quick enough. Now it's 8-5 with an RBI single for Andrew Benintendi, and from there Rodriguez, who was supposed to go the rest of the game, is yanked after only recording 1 out. He'll be replaced by Ryan Weathers, the lefty. Facing off against Bichette. He hits it into the gap. That could score 2. Sisco will look to score. He's safe. Runner holds up at third. It's an RBI double for Bo Bichette, and it's now 8-6 with 2 runners in scoring position and the tying run at second for Jarred Kelenic, who hits it into center. Sanchez misplays the dive. Are you kidding me? Both runs score. This game is tied at 8. Sanchez should have caught that, but he misplayed it. So this game is tied up. It was just 8-2 a couple moments ago, and the inning finally comes to an end as the following batter, Ty France, grounds out to first. Jesus Christ, that was a disaster. This game was supposed to be over. Top 8. Dustin Harris leads off the inning, and that one is gone. The Guardians are right back on top with a solo home run from Dustin Harris, coming in off the bench with a 411-foot nuke. A perfectly timed homer from Harris. That'll bring up Zane Rowley, strikes out on the slider for the second out of the inning. Robbie Ray, for the most part, has done a pretty good job, minus the homer by Harris, as he faces off against George Valera. He's hit lefties well tonight. Valera hits lefties well overall for being a lefty, as he singles into left. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez now, the 1-2, swing and miss. So Cleveland takes the lead back with a homer by Dustin Harris, but Seattle's offense is still feeling good about themselves after scoring 6 in the last inning. James Karinchak checks into the game here. He has not allowed a run so far in the playoffs. He's been fantastic as he strikes out Abraham Toro on the fastball for the second out of the inning. That's going to bring up the following batter, Chance Sisco, who strikes out on the fastball as well. A quick 1-2-3 inning for James Karinchak, and we'll move into the 9th inning as the Guardians look to shut this one down for good. It'll be against Sal Romano, who's allowed 2 runs in 4 innings so far. Romano starts off against Ketel Marte. The 1-2, he gets plunked. So Cleveland gets an early base runner as Marte is hit by the pitch. That'll bring up Jose Ramirez. He draws a walk as well. That pitch also inside. Interesting. So that's going to bring up Kyle Lewis, who's got a big opportunity to break this game wide open with 2 runners aboard and nobody out, or break it wide over to the shortstop. 6-4-3 double play. There's now a runner on third, but there's also 2 outs. Cleveland's going to need a base hit to drive in Marte. It'll be Dansby Swanson, who came in off the bench earlier. The 3-2, swinging a miss on the sinker. Romano gets through the inning, and that'll bring us to the bottom of the ninth. Emmanuel Clase, the all-star closer, will look to finish this game off and put Cleveland ahead 3-2. The 9-1-2 hitters due up for Seattle. Clase got the loss in Game 3, allowing the game-winning run in the 11th inning. But other than that, he has been spectacular in the playoffs. With 2 away, Marte makes an incredible catch, and this game is over. An incredible defensive play by Ketel Marte, and the Guardians win it 9-8. Cleveland takes a 3-2 series lead and is now 1 win away from going back to the World Series for a second consecutive season. This game came down to it. We led big going into the 7th inning. We were up 8-2, and then Seattle scores 6. But the late homer by Dustin Harris, of all people, the least expected hero, steps up in the biggest moment. The offense was great today. Sanchez, Pena, and Valera also went deep, all of which were in the 6th inning. And then the pitching, minus Rambo and Weathers, was quite good. Seattle's offense was not particularly great for 8 innings today, but they were so good in the 7th, they were able to stay alive. But the problem is the pitching was bad enough to where they could not win, despite scoring 6 in the 7th and 8 overall. So that brings us to Game 6. We lead 3-2, looking to close out the series for good. The NLCS is headed to a Game 7 with the Braves and Chicago at Wrigley. So we'll see which team wins that one and represents the National League in the World Series. But we'll start here with Game 6 of the ALCS between the Cleveland Guardians and the Seattle Mariners. The Guardians have a chance to wrap this one up tonight and get back to the World Series for a second time in 3 years. All they've got to do is beat Seattle here at home, and if not, then we'll head back to a Game 7 here in Cleveland, which again would be in the next episode. Cleveland barely won Game 5, 9-8 in Seattle. Cleveland ended up taking 2 of 3 in Seattle, winning the last 2, and they appear to be in the driver's seat, but Seattle is not too far behind, and we'll see how they play today. Here's a look at both lineups, regular starters for the most part across the board. The lefty John Means is on the bump for Cleveland. He pitched earlier in this series back in Game 2. Was not all that good, allowing 4 runs in 5 innings, getting the loss. He'll start off strong, fooling Andrew Benintendi on the sweeping curve. John Means has a nasty breaking ball, showing it there as he gets Bo Bichette to strike out on the circle change. Good first inning for Means as we go into the bottom of the first. The Mariners are putting their season into the hands of Logan Gilbert, who's been pretty good in 10 postseason innings, allowing just 3 runs, getting the no decision in both outings. Zane Rowley leads things off. He singles up the middle into center. Zane Rowley is obviously great in the playoffs, but what I've noticed is that he is significantly better at home. He didn't do all that well on the road against Seattle, but he has performed very well here in Cleveland. Now against George Valera, rips it up the middle. That goes for a single as well. So the Guardians get things started quickly with 2 early base runners. We'll see if they can do any early damage and set the tone just as they did in Game 5. That'll bring up Ketel Marte, rips it into left for a hit, and the bases are now loaded as Rowley decides to hold up at third. So the bases are juiced, nobody out. Cleveland's got to drive multiple guys in here, and that starts with Jose Ramirez. He's got a 3-run count, and J-Ram hits it into left. That'll go possibly for extra bases as it hits off the wall. 2-run score. It's an RBI double for Jose Ramirez with Marte on third. So 2-run score, 2 runners in scoring position, and still nobody out. That'll bring up Kyle Lewis. He rips it into right, and that one's going to be caught. Marte will score. Ramirez will advance to third. So not a bad AB for Kyle Lewis as he still drives in a run, making it 3-0. The runner is on third, 90 feet away from home, so Jesus Sanchez does have a good opportunity to drive him in, or that works too. He draws a walk. Now there's runners on the corners for Alvaro Pena. 1 away. 3-0 lead for the Guardians. Pena draws a walk as well. Logan Gilbert is pitching not well, put it that way. He'll face off against Josh Bell now. Bases still loaded. 1 out. Bell hits it up the middle. 1 run will score. A 2nd run will look to join. Josh Bell, it's a 2-run single, and this game is 5-0. Cleveland is firing on all cylinders offensively, and Logan Gilbert is removed after only allowing 1 out. Ethan Small is now in. He pitched in the last game and did not pitch all that well, allowing 3 homers in less than 2 innings of work as he strikes out Zane Rowley and gets through the rest of the inning. But still, a pretty bad first inning for Seattle. With the season on the line for them, I think they'd be a little bit more comfortable if they weren't down 5-0. Jared Kelenic strikes out. John Means pitching very well so far as he faces off against Julio Rodriguez, who strikes out as well. Good start for John Means. He has not allowed any base runners, as it is still a 5-0 game. Bottom 2, runner on first, 1 away for Jose Ramirez. Clobbers it into left. That one hits off the wall for a double. Ramirez safe at second. The other runner, Marte, is safe at third. And the Guardians have another great opportunity to add to their already large lead. 2-2 count here for Kyle Lewis. He's going to ground this one weakly up the middle. Small gets to it slowly. So because of that, he does not throw Lewis out at first. And the bases are loaded again. That's the 3rd time today, and we're only in the 2nd inning. Jesus Sanchez flies it into left, and it is caught. Marte is going to look to tag up. The throw over to third is in time. They got Ramirez going 3, and the inning comes to a close off of the double play as it's still 5-0. Byron Buxton leads off the third, hits it high and deep in the left. Valera at the wall makes the catch, crashing into the left field wall for the out. That'll bring up Abraham Toro, who finally gets the first base runner of the game for the Mariners, hitting it into right center for a double. So Toro is in scoring position with 1 away as Seattle looks to get on the board and cut into this lead. It's Cal Raleigh, the catcher, who hits it into right. Lewis cannot make the play, and Toro should score with ease. It's an RBI double for Cal Raleigh, and it's now 5-1 as Seattle gets on the board. Good swing there by Raleigh at the back end of the lineup. Andrew Benintendi now strikes out on the fastball for the 2nd out of the inning. John Means with his 5th K of the day. There's his 6th, this time on Brian Rocchio. So Means and the Guardians do allow a run, but Cleveland still leads nicely, 5-1. Luis Campusano up with 2 away in the bottom of the 3rd, grounds it up the middle. Small makes the play. Ethan Small has done great. Clearly, it was a Logan Gilbert issue more so than Cleveland's offense being dominant because Small has 2 2/3 scoreless innings. In the top of the 4th, 2 away. What a throw by Jose Ramirez. He deflects the ball, gets up, and still throws out the runner. Another 1-2-3 inning for John Means as it remains 5-1. Let's go bottom 4. Zane Rowley is up. Going to look to add another base hit, and he does, singling up the middle. So the Guardians have their leadoff runner aboard. The heart of the lineup is due up, and Cleveland's got another great opportunity to get back on the scoreboard. That'll bring up George Valera. He hit a homer off of Small in the last game, and this time Small sends him home on the strikeout for the 1st out of the inning. That'll bring up Ketel Marte. He's reached base in both of his plate appearances, and this time he will strike out on the outside changeup. Nice pitch by Small for the 2nd out of the inning. Jose Ramirez is now up. He's 2 for 2. He's gotten off to a busy start, and he strikes out as well. Ethan Small is dominating out of the bullpen right now. 3 2/3 scoreless innings. The only problem is his team is still down by 4. Julio Rodriguez leads the 5th off of the single. John Means is currently at 61 pitches, so realistically, if he keeps this pace up, the Guardians can hope for 2, maybe 3 more innings out of him if all goes well. Byron Buxton strikes out on a sweeping curve for the 1st out of the inning. John Means is not a strikeout guy, but he's got 7 tonight. That'll lead to a Seattle single not too long later. So the Mariners have 2 runners aboard here. Great opportunity to put yourselves back in the game. Andrew Benintendi with 2 away, grounds it to Marte, flips it over to Pena. 5 innings, 1 earned run for John Means, and he does not appear to be slowing down. Cleveland can taste it. They're getting closer and closer to winning this game and the American League pennant. Robbie Ray is into the game for the Mariners, his 7th postseason appearance of the year. His first batter is going to be Kyle Lewis, who rips it into left. That'll go for a hit. As Lewis thought about 2, heads back to first. We'll see if the Guardians can get back on the board for the first time since the 1st inning and really try to cement control of this game. Jesus Sanchez grounds it up the middle, goes between the shortstop and the second baseman, and Cleveland starts the inning with a pair of early base runners. This is a big opportunity to strike here. 1 away for Josh Bell. He goes down looking at the high fastball. That pitch looks well above the zone, but he does not get the call. Two away now for the catcher, Luis Campusano. Pops it into the outfield. That might be shallow enough to drop, and it is not. Byron Buxton comes over to hole it in. Cleveland still has not scored since the first inning, but is holding on to their 5-1 lead. John Means still in the game here in the 6th as he allows an early single to Bichette. Kyle Lewis was nearly able to make the grab there, but unable to. So with one away, the Mariners have a base runner, and that'll bring up Jarred Kelenic. Hits it high and deep in a right center at the track of the wall. It's gone! Two-run homer for Jarred Kelenic, and the Mariners are back in the game as it's now 5-3. From there, John Means will be taken out of the game. Overall, a pretty good start. We'll see if the bullpen can finish off the job and get Cleveland back to the World Series. The lefty, Alex Vesia, is into the game. He's pitched an inning and a third and has struck out or walked every batter he's faced until now. Ty France hits it into right. Kyle Lewis misplays it. Another bad defensive play by Kyle Lewis, and that'll go for a hit. Probably should have been called an error. Rodriguez goes down on the slider. That pitch well outside. What a pitch by the lefty Vesia. And then going up against Buxton. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Still not a bad inning for Seattle as they cut the lead in half and knock John Means out of the game. Zane Rowley leads off the bottom of the 6th, and he hits it well into right center. That ball is gone. Solo home run for playoff Zane. His second homer of the postseason, and it's now 6-3. When we get into the month of October, this guy is different, and he is showing that yet again today. Into the 7th, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, hits it into left. It curves nearly fair at the last second, but it's still foul by about a yard. Raleigh will go down looking on the very next pitch. Ruthless end of the at-bat by Alex Vesia. Still in the game, pitching very well. Now against Benintendi, who goes down chasing the slider. What a great job out of the bullpen by Alex Vesia, as the Guardians can just taste it. Up by 3 here in the bottom of the 7th. Patrick Murphy is now on the mound for Seattle. He's allowed 3 runs in 2 postseason innings so far as he starts off against Kyle Lewis, who has reached base in every single one of his at-bats today. Until now, he swings and misses at the curveball. Nice pitch by Murphy for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Dustin Harris coming off the bench. Had that big homer in Game 5, and he goes down looking on the fastball for out number 2. Now it's Alvaro Pena at the plate, and he goes down on the sinker. Patrick Murphy strikes out the side, and we go to the 8th. It's time for the back end of the Cleveland bullpen to finish it with the dynamic duo of Duvall and Clase. We'll start with Camilo Duvall, who's been quite good in the postseason, but he does not start his day off well as Brian Rocchio homers into right field. Okay, Seattle's going to make it interesting. It's now 6-4. Rocchio with his second homer of the postseason, second of the ALCS. One away for Kelenic, homered earlier today in his last at-bat. He draws a walk. The tying run is now at the plate, and it's Ty France. Crushes it in left center. That ball is gone. 6-6, Seattle ties it. Camilo Duvall choking this lead away. Cleveland's all-star caliber relief pitcher gets yanked after allowing 3 runs in his biggest appearance of the year. James Karinchak enters in his place as he strikes out J-Rod. Then with 2 away, Adam Hazley, the pinch hitter, subbing in for Buxton, singles into center. So the Mariners have another base runner. That's going to bring up Abraham Toro, who draws a walk. 2 on, 2 out for Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. Grounds it to third. Wynn cannot tag the runner, but throws out Raleigh at first. A big inning, though, for Seattle as they tie it, and we go into the bottom of the 8th. Mason Wynn off the bench, leads it off with his first career postseason hit, a single into right. Good start here for Cleveland. They got to get some base runners and take this lead back and end it tonight. Ramon Romero off the bench draws a walk. He really wanted to swing at that pitch, but he doesn't get aggressive. That'll bring up Mr. October, Zane Rowley, 3 for 4, homered in his last at-bat. Gets another hit, his 4th of the game. A single into left, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Cleveland has to score at minimum 2, hopefully at least 3. Valera hits it up the middle. That'll go for a single. 1 run scores. Ramiro looking to head home. He is safe. A 2-run single for George Valera, and it's now 8-6. The Guardians are back ahead. Patrick Murphy finally taken out of the game. 2 batters too late. He'll be replaced by Sal Romano as Marte gets it into right for a hit. I don't know why George Valera went back to first. He is out at second. I promise you that was not me having Valera go back to first. They may not be the brightest bulb in the box, but I'm smart enough to know when the ball hits the ground, no, don't go back to your original base. And that's what George Valera did. So now there's one out. Run does score, though, so it's now 6-9. Nice. That'll bring up Jose Ramirez, who grounds it to second. The Mariners should turn two and end the inning, which they do. 4-6-3 double play. So the Mariners score 3 in the top of the 8th. Cleveland scores 3 in the bottom of the 8th. It's time for the closer, Emmanuel Clase, to finish the job off once and for all and put Cleveland in the World Series. He's 4 for 4 in save opportunities, but got the loss in Game 3 of this series against Seattle as he strikes out Benintendi for out number 1. Good start. That'll bring up Brian Rocchio, who hits it well into left center. That's going to drop for extra bases as the one hops off the wall. Jay Allen coming in off the bench, gets to it quickly. I know things didn't work out in Cleveland for Rocchio, but he's been very impressive in this series for Seattle. That brings up Bo Bichette, hits it into left, and it's caught! What a play by George Valera. Rocchio tags up to third, but Valera makes an acrobatic catch at the wall, likely saving a run. We got to look at that play again. Oh my goodness, leaping up, runs right into the wall, and now it comes down to Jared Kelenic. Looks at a cutter right down the middle, now down to the last strike. And Kelenic rips it into center field. That'll go for a homer, and the Mariners are going to continue to stay alive a little bit longer. 2-run homer for Kelenic, his 5th of the postseason, 2nd of the ball game, and it's now 9-8 with Ty France, the tying runner-up, as he fouls off the cutter. Count 2-2 down to his final strike. Fouls a fastball off up and away. Following pitch. Fouls off an outside cutter. Clase wanted to catch him off guard. The 2-2. That one is high. And now the count is full. Julio Rodriguez on deck. The 3-2. Fouled off again. Ty France is battling. Following pitch. Hits it into left. Valera should be able to get under it. And he does! This game and series is over. For the second time in 3 years, the Cleveland Guardians have won the American League pennant and are headed back to the World Series. What a ride here for the Cleveland Guardians. Since winning the World Series 2 years ago, it has been an uphill battle. Last year, we won in 111 games, the best record in baseball, but we could not get out of the ALCS, losing in 5. This year, we win 97 games. We sweep through the ALDS. We had some troubles here against Seattle. It took us 6. But ultimately, we get the job done and are looking for our 2nd World Series championship of the series against either Atlanta or Chicago, who have Game 7 at Wrigley Field tonight as well. What a ride here for the Cleveland Guardians, but this ride is just getting started with the World Series on the horizon. Really, both games 5 and 6 were pretty similar. We jumped out the gates on fire, setting the tone tonight with 5 runs in the first inning. Seattle continued to battle back, but when we needed to make plays at the end of this game, we did. The Mariners' offense was really good down the stretch tonight with 7 runs in the final 4 innings, 5 runs in the final 2, but it was just a classic case of too little too late, along with the pitching not doing too well. Our offense was on fire out the gate. Zane Raleigh, 4 for 5 with a homer. Valera was big. Ramirez was big, per usual. The pitching was up and down. Clase and Duvall, who normally are dominant, did not do so well today, but we were still able to hang on, and we'll be facing off against the Chicago Cubbies in the World Series 10 years later after they beat the Guardians in 2016, coming back down 3-1. The Cubs have been a great team this year. It's not like the Rockies in Season 3 who slipped their way into the World Series. This team won 99 games, beating the wildcard Marlins in 4 in the NLDS, only allowing 5 runs in those 4 games. In the NLCS, they started off strong, winning the first 2 against Atlanta. The Braves then took the next 2. They split games 5 and 6, and then in crunch time game 7, the Cubs dominated, winning 12-2. They scored 8 runs in the first 3 innings and did not look back. Tommy La Stella, of all people, drove in 6 runs, along with 3 from Jared Walsh. Alexander Vizcaino, in his first career postseason start, went 7 innings, only allowing 1 run. The Cubs are the only team in all of baseball to finish with a better record than us, meaning that they will have home field for the World Series. This is a really fun lineup with guys like Brian Reynolds, Jared Walsh, Akil Yabba-Dabba-Doo, David Fletcher, Sean Murphy, Sergio Alcantara, Jake Fraley, and others. The pitching staff is led by Jack Flaherty, who was signed out of free agency 3 years ago, and he has been worth every penny. He's been arguably the best pitcher in baseball during that stretch with the Cubs. The rest of their rotation is a little bit questionable, but their bullpen is rock solid. Brett Martin, Andres Munoz, R.J. Dabovich, Daniel Norris, and Joe Barlow lead one of the best back ends in baseball, and they also have 3 potential closing prospects. Many Cleveland fans have not gotten closure from the 2016 World Series, in which they led 3-1 and blew it. So hopefully we'll be able to close that book and give those fans closure once and for all. That's going to wrap up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed and are excited for the World Series against the Chicago Cubs. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.